Kirsten.
All right, my board reports begin on page 13 of board book, and tonight the reports presented represent financial information for the month of January, which is 58% of our operating budget for the year. On board book page 13, we have the monthly summary report. And you can see the total revenue for the month was $720,268, with 37% coming from evidence-based funding, which is our state funding, and 35% coming from state and federal reimbursement. Primarily, the majority of that was special education. The total expenditures for the month were almost $2 million, with 78% towards salary and benefits and 7% towards special education tuition. On board book page 14 begins the monthly financial statements. The year-to-date in the operating fund, the district has received almost $13 million and expended a little over $16 million. So right now, our snapshot is that we're deficit spending a little over $3 million. I highlight this because we certainly won't finish the year at this point in time, but it's important to note that this is why it's important to have a fund balance, so that until we receive the second installment of property taxes, we're significantly deficit spending. So again, we certainly will not finish the year with a $3 million deficit, but I just wanted to highlight where we're at right now at this point in the year. The next page, board book page 15, summary of revenues for the district shows that the district has received 49% of our revenue in the operating funds for this year, and that amount is very equivalent to where we were at this point last year. We were at 48%. The next page is the summary of expenditures, which shows the district has spent 60% of the budgeted expenditures for the year in the operating accounts, and this is also, again, really similar to at this point last year where we are at 59%. When you begin to look at all the other funds, it's a little misleading because it often depends on whatever life safety projects we have going on. For the board's information, I also shared, as I do every month, the statement of revenues and expenditures for the month of January. So this includes all of our accounts and the year-to-date expenditures in each account, and you can see kind of where we are on track for the budget. We also use this, since it's our first year of accounting software, to, if we miskeyed anything, we use this to correct something. So we look at this very, very frequently in the business office. Also, again, just for your information, I provided the student activity account summary, which begins on board book page 26. Again, this is the report for the month of January. The only thing really of note that I've mentioned for the past couple of months is our AP testing account will continue to carry a large balance until we pay off that College Board bill in, I believe it's May or June, probably more June. And so those are where all the student fees go, and we collect $95 for each test per student. So that's why that account balance is so big. And then lastly, in the report, the budget calendar begins on board book page 32. So this is a summary of how I'll approach coming up with the budget for fiscal year 21. The goal is to have a tentative budget approved by the board at the June 2020 meeting. So this kind of outlines backwards how we're going to get there so that we ultimately get the final budget approved in September. There were two questions submitted. The first question was in regards to position control. So position control is just a giant Excel spreadsheet that we maintain every year with every position in the district listed, as well as who's filling that position and what their salary is. And then we use that to make sure we've accounted for all of the positions, and then that feeds into the budget.
Okay.
So that's what I was
So I've seen it
referring to.
before, I just didn't know what it's called. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know what this is.
We don't share that with the board. I mean, that's
Oh, that's
it's an internal
Oh,
document.
okay.
Right?
Oh, so I haven't seen it.
No, you haven't.
Okay.
And then the other question submitted was in regards to staffing. So staffing is presented to the board in March, and that is when we will ask the board to approve any classes that are under 20. And that usually is the information that we need then to go back as an administrative team and finalize staffing. So typically the board only sees the staffing once, unless we need to come back to the board to ask for some additional FTE And so that's why we try to get both of those things accomplished in March before we go on spring break, because over spring break is when we start to build a master schedule and identify which classes are going to be taught which periods.
So one of the ones under March is board and one's admin?
Correct.
All right, so we should just clarify that for the future.
That concludes my report.
Good job.
All right.
Visitor statements.
Any questions,